This reminded me, just asked my team to pull it over, of a bit James Carville did after the election. You know, the Bill Clinton aide who helped get him elected. And, you know, he's a Southerner. He's a Louisiana boy through and through. And he's not woke. He's a leftist Democrat, but he is not a woke guy. And he went on a rant about young people within the campaign, the Democratic Party, who think they know everything because someone hasn't set those guardrails for them on understanding respect and respect for one's elders, and that one doesn't know everything, especially as a young person. It's a great bit. We haven't had the chance to play it for the audience. Here it is.
The vice president was thinking about going on Joe Rogan's show, and a lot of the younger progressive staffers pitched a hissy fit. Supposedly the campaign said that wasn't the term of fact, but they did. When you put a campaign together and you hire young people to do work, let me tell you exactly what you tell these people, what I would tell them. Not only am I not interested in your fucking opinion, I'm not even going to call you by your name. You're 23 years old. I don't really give a shit what you think. If I were running a 2028 campaign and I had some little snot-nosed 23-year-old saying I'm going to resign if you don't do this, not only would I fire that motherfucker on the spot, I would find out who hired them and fire that person on the spot.
That's amazing. What do you make of it, Dr. Sax?
Well, he speaks very emphatically, but indeed, I do think that we need young people to respect their elders, and the anthropologists would agree with Bomar. Every successful culture teaches young people to respect their elders, and we used to do that too. As recently as 20, 30 years ago, American culture was a culture of respect. And the most popular TV shows, like the Andy Griffith Show in the 1960s, even Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the 1990s.
Little House on the Prairie.
Yes, were shows that had those strong connections across generations. We have lost that. And, you know, you and I cannot change Hollywood, but we can create a culture of respect in our own home. And again, that's what I'm trying to do in my book, The Collapse of Parenting. We can't change Hollywood, but I'm trying to encourage parents and give parents some guidance. How do you do that in your own home? You've got to create that culture of respect within your own home. And you've got to be confident, asserting authority in your own home. It's not about discipline. It's about creating those bonds of love and respect across the generations.
Mm-hmm. This is reminding me too of the way we speak to our children today, or the way we're told we should speak to them today, is just so vastly different from how my parents spoke to me when I was growing up, and just a couple generations ago, the way it was. You know, you could make the case against the way parents like mine, my mom Linda, who I adore, lines like "Stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about." Okay, that may have been a little far on the spectrum, but today, we've gone so far around the bend that we have lost our authority. And I don't know what kind of psychobabble these young parents are listening to, but it's encapsulated in this bit that was going around Instagram recently. This is like a prepared bit between what looks like a mom and daughter acting, but it captures it perfectly. Watch.
Be careful. We don't say be careful anymore. Instead, say, what's your plan here?
I don't even know my plan. Do you know your plan? Don't stop. Hit your sister.
Don't say stop. Say gentle.
Gentle what?
Gentle hands.
Gentle hands is gentle.
Everything. Gentle everything.
I am so proud of you.
You're not supposed to tell kids you're proud of them anymore.
Why not?
Well, that's putting the focus on you.
What?
I'm so proud. Don't say that.
What should I say instead?
You should be so proud.
I am so proud.
No, it's back on you again.
Hey, hurry up. We gotta go.
Don't rush. We're fine. Don't rush her. Fine.
I thought we were in a hurry.
If you rush children, it makes them anxious. No hurry. You always rushed us, and I'm anxious.
Never rushed you. We were always late.
Exactly. And I was anxious because we were always late.
What am I supposed to say then?
Gentle.
This way. Good job.
Good choice.
Thank you.
No, say good choice.
Watch out.
Do you feel safe here?
I don't feel safe about any of this shit.
Watch out. No, it's do you feel safe here? I'm sure you've seen a lot of this too.
Yeah. So that's a riff on gentle parenting, which I talk about in the new edition, which really wasn't a thing 10 years ago, but it certainly is now. Gentle parenting means letting kids decide. Gentle parenting means that good parenting means letting kids decide. And gentle parenting is profoundly harmful. And again, in the new edition, I present a lot of evidence that that is so, because the kids often are mistaken. And what is childhood for? I mean, literally, a 4-year-old child has barely begun. A 4-year-old horse is a mature adult, and a horse is a bigger animal than a human. So it can't just be about biological maturity, because a horse, as I said, is a bigger animal, and a horse is fully mature by 4 years of age. A human is developing, is immature for more years than most animals live. Why? Why does it take so long? Well, we don't have to guess. We have scholars like Dr. Melvin Konner at Emory, who spent his entire career, decades, studying this question and published this huge tome, 800 pages, Oxford University Press, titled The Evolution of Childhood, comparing development in our species with development in other species. And the answer he gives, the reason it takes so many years, is that it takes many years for parents to teach the child right and wrong. And so I cite a column by a longtime columnist for the New York Times, Jennifer Finney Boylan, who wrote a column about enlightened parenting, in which she asserts, and I'm quoting now, she says that enlightened parenting means, and I quote, setting your child free to discover for themselves their own right and wrong. And if in so doing your child becomes a stranger to you, then so be it. That may seem enlightened to some, but it's not enlightened. It's a dereliction of duty. If you set your child free to discover for themselves their own right and wrong, and they have a device with internet access, what they will discover is Drake and Bruno Mars and Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B and transgenderism and mainstream pornography. Your job is to teach your child right and wrong, to inscribe your law on the hearts of your child. That's Deuteronomy 6. That's your job as a parent. Don't set your child loose to discover for themselves their own right and wrong. That's a dereliction of duty. Don't listen to the New York Times. Don't listen to National Public Radio. Do your job as a parent. That's the message I'm trying to communicate in my book, The Collapse of Parenting.
It's reminding me at our school, at our son's school, it's an all-boys school, they understand that students will make bad decisions and they'll do stupid things sometimes. But the thing that will really get you expelled quickly is if you get called in to the head of school's office and you lie about what you did. Like he's not calling you in there unless he's got you dead to rights. About half the time they've got cameras in the school, so he's already seen what you've done. And if you lie, you're out. He's pretty hardcore about that. If you own up to it and confess you were a numbskull, you did something really stupid and you're sorry, you will live to fight another day. But to your point, it's about the value system. Like honesty it's just a deal breaker. We can't have anything, can't have character if we don't have that fundamental basic honesty. Mm-hmm. Can I ask you something else? When another audience member asked, how do I know at what age I can start talking to my kids more as adults, being honest with them about my own thought process and why I'm not going to allow them to do this thing that they want to do, or about the problems as I see it in the family, outside, whatever. Like, how does one know what level of dialogue to have with one's kid?
I think it really varies from one child to the next. As a rule, girls mature faster than boys do. Girls reach full maturity in brain's development by about 22 years of age. Boys don't reach maturity in brain development until 30 years of age. So that explains a lot if you think about it. And when in doubt, wait. I find a lot of parents that I think are confiding too early. And I know a boy who was very insecure because his mom was confiding, a single mom was confiding in her son about how they were broke. He took that literally, and he thought that they literally didn't have money for food. And he was very insecure until he graduated and went off to college and realized that they actually were not that broke. Again, parents and sometimes single parents are a little bit more prone to this because they don't have an adult confidant. And they sometimes, I've observed as a family doctor, they confide in their kids because they don't have a partner to confide in. And they're confiding in their 12-year-old when maybe they shouldn't be. And as a result, that 12-year-old is insecure, more insecure than they have to be. So when in doubt, keep it to yourself, is one general rule I've learned.
I seem to remember you being a big proponent of chores and responsibilities for kids. Does that extend to, I had one audience member ask about, to what extent is it appropriate for me to ask the older kids to help me with the younger kids? Because the older kids have responsibilities of their own, and they have grades they have to keep up, and they have sports they have to make. And like, is it a dereliction of your parental duty to try to fold in the older ones to help with the younger ones, or is it a good thing?
No. So there's a whole chapter in the new edition titled Humility, which I call the most un-American of virtues. Justin Bieber had a big hit a few years back where he sang, "I'm going to light up the sky like lightning and this world will belong to me." Being proud and standing tall and this world will belong to me. Those are very American characteristics. But we now have all these studies where researchers find that the kid with the highest self-esteem at 15 years of age is that individual who's most likely to be resentful and frustrated 10 years down the road. Because if I'm so amazing at 15, how come I'm working for a low wage in a cubicle at 25 years of age? Actually, one of the best predictors of happiness and contentment at 15 years of age is humility.
Wow.
Being humble. And yes, absolutely. And you'll find that research in my book, The Collapse of Parenting. Being humble, being grateful, powerfully and accurately predicts happiness and contentment. How do you teach humility? And again, parents are confused. They don't get this at all. When I speak to parents about the virtue of humility, during question and answer, a mother said, "I don't want to teach my daughter to be humble. That's ridiculous. I wanted to have my daughter to have a high self-esteem. So when that big job opportunity comes along, she'll go for it. I don't want to teach my daughter to be humble. That's ridiculous." I said, "Mom, with all due respect, you're confused. You're confusing being humble with being timid. Those are not the same thing. They're very nearly opposites. And the virtue you want for your daughter in the situation you're describing, when a big job opportunity comes along, the virtue you want for your daughter is not high self-esteem. The virtue you want for your daughter in that situation is courage. Courage means you know your inadequacies, your failures, your shortcomings, and you find the strength to move forward anyhow. There is no courage without fear. High self-esteem is not the virtue that you're looking for. High self-esteem leads to frustration and resentment.
For those of us who have been holding our breath for the past several months, waiting for this election, we can finally exhale. Work can now be done on the major issues this country's facing, one of the most significant being our national debt. The fact is our nation's broke, and that debt is a house of cards that cannot be quickly dismantled. So the strategy for you probably remains the same when it comes to your investments. You might want to diversify your savings. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control, out of our president's control, so it can be important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news is it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. Text MK to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold. Plus, right now you will receive a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. Protect your savings with Birch Gold and text MK to 989898 to claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.